Thanks for tuning in. So today we're going to talk about non-death loss, and it's a subject that we kind of experience it and we kind of talk about it, but I don't think other people really understand that. For many people, the word grief is always associated with death, but of course in the term of parental alienation, it's a suffering which is truly undescribable. So I'm just going to run through 5 tips for those experiencing that loss in parental alienation, of things that may be useful to kind of hold on to and try to get you through that somehow. And of course, anybody that's ever been in that situation knows that you are sitting with your own feelings night and day, and that's if you're asleep, awake, they are there. But one thing people fail to do, you may have done this already, but some people fail to do, is to actually name those emotions that you're feeling. It's easy to say, oh yeah, I feel so hurt, I feel this, I feel that, but actually sit and engage with your feelings and name those feelings, and furthermore, validate your own emotions, validate those emotions. So for example, if you feel fear for the experience that your child is now going through without you and the stuff that they're subjected to, really kind of think about that emotion and go into it in depth and validate that. Why am I feeling this way? It sounds really simple, but I actually find that it's quite useful. The second tip is to remind yourself for things to be grateful for. When you're feeling like that, I'm not going to say it's impossible, because it isn't. It can be done, but it's very hard to do that. And of course, the brain is kind of trained to think about things that are an issue and kind of make more of them. And I'm not downplaying your experiences, but I'm saying if you can focus on something each day to be grateful for, whether it's a good friendship, a really understanding boss, whether it's something simple, homing to the simple things. For example, like the smell of fresh fruit, or the breeze on your face, or the sunshine, those simple things, and be grateful for those. And you find that the more grateful you are for those things, the better you feel, the more lifted you feel. That pain is not going to go away. That powerlessness is not going to go away, but you will start to feel better, and maybe have some sort of degree of life. Point 3 is to be kind to yourself, and that actually does mean being kind to yourself. So obviously you've got to do whatever you can to cope in the absence of your children, but being kind to yourself, I mean, as long as it's a more positive habit, for example, exercising, meditation, those kind of things, whatever you're interested in, being kind to yourself, doing stuff that's for you, sleeping well, eating well. And all of these positive things that you could do, maybe you could join an art class, maybe you could build something, whatever it is that you feel like motivated to do. It's kind of almost like a form of therapy, because you get lost in that, and while you are doing that, you're not feeling the pain because you're engaged in that. And it actually helps after trauma, and in the case of PTSD and stuff like that, it helps to rewire the brain and become more optimistic, because if you are still here, you still have to live and have some degree of life. And tip 4 is engaging in positive self-talk, rather than having this stuff going round and round and round in your head, which is negative. You maybe have squatters sitting on your shoulder telling you should have done this, or you should have done that, or you didn't do this, or it's got to be positive. So you can only go from this point on. So a lot of positive self-talk, a lot of encouragement, almost go into yourself like you're, talking to your best friend, or you're somebody you care for, and talk to yourself in that way, and nurture yourself, because if you knew somebody in this situation, you would treat them very well, have a lot of empathy and kindness to them, and that's what you need to do to you, with you, and the positive self-talk all the time. And of course, the last point is to talk to somebody who's a really good listener. Now, in these situations, it can be really difficult, because even the people closest to you that know you the best, somehow it almost feels like, in some ways, for some people, that these people don't actually understand. Sometimes people can say things which are clumsy. Sometimes you're left feeling like people don't really get that level of pain. So if necessary, and if it's something that you haven't thought of before, then maybe talking outside of your family circle, or even outside of supportive friends, talking to a therapist, having some counselling, that could be a really good option for you, and it would also help to heal a lot of the wounds and a lot of the trauma. So in my next video, I'm going to talk about the benefits of therapy and the different types of therapy specific to those kind of situations where people have experienced trauma and abuse. Okay, so go and do something good for yourself, and I will see you in my next video. You've got this 100%.